I'm thinking of leaving my wife. I never thought I'd be this guy, the man sitting in his car outside work, gripping the steering wheel, wondering if he should leave the woman he vowed to love forever. But here I am. The weight of the decision presses down on me every waking moment, and I feel like I'm suffocating in my own skin. Emma and I married young. Too young, if I'm being honest. I was 22, fresh out of college and ready to start my first real job when she told me she was pregnant. It wasn't a planned pregnancy, but I did what I thought was the right thing. I loved her, and I wanted to build a life together. At first, we were a team. We figured out how to navigate our 20s as new parents while our friends were out partying and traveling. We worked hard, saved every penny, and eventually bought our first house. By the time we had our second child, our lives had settled into a rhythm: work, home, kids, repeat. Now, 10 years and 3 kids later, I'm starting to realize we've been running on autopilot. Emma has poured herself into everything: her career, the kids, the PTA, the neighborhood book club. She's always busy, always organizing something. It's admirable, really. She's a powerhouse. But somewhere along the way, we lost us. I can't remember the last time we had a real conversation that wasn't about the kids or schedules. The last time we went on a date night? Probably 2 years ago. Our physical relationship? Practically non-existent. And it's not just her. I know I'm part of the problem. But lately, I've started noticing other women. It started innocently enough at work. Claire, one of my coworkers, complimented my tie. "Blue suits you," she said, her smile lingering just a little too long. It was a small moment, but it felt good. Like someone was seeing me for the first time in years. Since then, I've caught myself gravitating toward her. We work closely on a few projects, and she always seems to find reasons to chat, asking how my day is going, offering to grab coffee during meetings. The way she laughs at my jokes, the way she brushes her hand against mine when handing me something, it's intoxicating. Claire makes me feel like someone worth noticing. She's confident, funny, and always looks impeccable, never frazzled or stressed like Emma. She'll stop by my desk with coffee, touch my arm lightly during meetings, and laugh at my jokes like they're the funniest thing she's ever heard. Last week, we worked late on a project together. At one point, she leaned in, her hand brushing mine as she handed me a file. For a moment, the world stopped. I felt something I hadn't felt in years, a spark. But it wasn't just Claire. There's also Jenna, the barista at the local coffee shop. Jenna is everything Emma isn't anymore: fun, carefree, spontaneous. She's got this quirky charm, always wearing vintage band t-shirts and oversized glasses. Every morning, she greets me with a warm smile and my usual order. Last week, she even doodled a little sun on my cup with the words, "Have a bright day." It's stupid, I know, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. Jenna made me laugh. You could tell she's creative and curious, always looking for novelty. She always had amazing commentary about last night's new episode of the trending show or good insight on the latest gossip. She could make the few moments that we spent together waiting for my coffee to brew feel like a whole day, while time felt like it moved faster than ever. I could feel Jenna's eyes linger on me sometimes as she said goodbye. Maybe I'm misreading, but I think she's attracted to me too. These feelings are crushing me. Emma doesn't deserve this. She's a good wife and a great mother, but she's also so distracted. She's either at work, glued to her phone responding to emails, or running the kids to soccer practice. When she's home, it's like she's still somewhere else. She's always talking about the neighborhood drama, who's mad at who over the HOA, who didn't RSVP to the latest block party. She thrives on being involved in everything, but it feels like there's no space left for me. Last week, I tried to talk to her about how I've been feeling. I told her I missed her, that I felt like we'd become strangers in our own house. She looked at me, tired and frazzled, and said, "I don't have time for this right now, James. Can we talk later?" But later never comes. The guilt is unbearable, but her disregard is like a knife through me that no one can remove. Emma has sacrificed so much for our family, and I know she's carrying a heavier load than I am. But every time I look at her, all I can feel is resentment. If she can give so much of herself to others, is there even anything left for me? The breaking point came last night. Emma was rushing around the kitchen, packing lunches for the kids while checking her work emails. "James, can you help me with this?" she asked, not looking up. I told her I was tired from work, and she snapped. "Tired? You're tired? Do you even realize how much I do for this family? You get to come home and sit, while I'm running this house like a full-time job." I exploded. "Maybe if you spent half as much time caring about me as you do the PTA, we wouldn't be in this mess." Her face crumpled, and for the first time in a long time, I saw how much my words hurt her. "You think I don't care about you?" she whispered. "I'm doing all of this for us. For our family. Do you even see me anymore, James? The truth is, I don't. I see the woman who's always moving, always solving problems, but I don't see her. And maybe she doesn't see me either. The kids heard us fighting, and that broke me." Our youngest, Lily, clung to my leg, asking why Mommy and Daddy were yelling. I scooped her up, my heart breaking, and told her everything was fine. But it's not fine. It hasn't been fine for years. Now, in the mornings, I sit in my car outside the coffee shop, staring at the cup Jenna handed me. I feel like I'm being pulled in two directions. On one side, there's Emma and the life we've built, the kids, the house, the memories. On the other side, there's the version of me that wants to feel alive again, even if it means starting over. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure I love Emma anymore, but I'm not sure I'm ready to walk away, either. The thought of breaking up our family makes me feel sick, but so does the idea of spending the rest of my life feeling like this, resentful, invisible, stuck. And what about Jenna and Claire? Are they just distractions, or are they the wake-up call I needed to realize how much is missing in my life? Emma doesn't deserve this, and my kids definitely don't. But I can't help wondering, do I deserve to be happy too? When I'm at home, I can't stop thinking about Claire and Jenna. I feel like the worst kind of man. My wife is good, kind, and loyal to a fault. She's done nothing wrong, and yet, I find myself retreating further and further from her. I know I sound selfish. I know marriages aren't always exciting, and raising kids is hard work. But I can't shake the feeling that I'm wasting away in a life I never really chose. I didn't choose to get married so young. I didn't choose to have 3 kids before I turned 30. And now, I'm starting to wonder if I can keep choosing to stay. I've started imagining what it would be like to leave. To pack a bag, say my goodbyes, and start over. The idea terrifies me and excites me in equal measure. I'd be free from the monotony, the dull ache of a love that's faded. But I'd also be leaving behind the woman who stood by me through everything, job losses, family tragedies, and sleepless nights worrying about our future. To start over. I imagine myself with someone like Claire, someone who sees me, who makes me feel alive again. Or Jenna, who's full of life and energy and doesn't have the weight of the world on her shoulders. But then I think about my kids. The idea of breaking up their home makes me feel like the worst kind of monster. I love them more than anything, and the thought of only seeing them on weekends is unbearable. And then there's Emma. Despite everything, I still care about her. But do I love her the way I used to? Or am I just holding on to the memories of who we were? I know I'm the villain here. Emma isn't perfect, but she doesn't deserve this betrayal, even if it's only in my thoughts. And yet, I can't stop wondering what it would feel like to walk away. To start over. To be with someone who makes me feel alive again. I don't know if I'm staying because I love her or because I'm too much of a coward to leave. Maybe it's both. Maybe I'm clinging to this fantasy of a perfect life, where someone like Claire or Jenna fills the void Emma no longer can. But deep down, I know the problem isn't Emma. It's me. I wish I could be the kind of man who looks at his life and says, this is enough. But right now, it doesn't feel like enough. It feels like I'm suffocating, drowning in a sea of unmet needs and unspoken longings. Before leaving work, Claire asked me to get some coffee with her. I looked down at my phone, thinking of how I'd explain it, and she closed the gap between us. Don't worry. I won't have you out after curfew, she said. Yeah, okay. I answered quickly. I couldn't help but feel like this was more than just coffee. It was an opportunity. I shot a text to Emma, letting her know I'd be working a little late. Not talking about my feelings has made lying easier. I knew it. The words flowed from my fingers and sent to her without hesitation, as if I was calling out of work, a reflection of our relationship. As we entered the cafe, I assisted Claire in getting off her coat and hung it from the chair I pulled out for her. My eyes darted across the room, worried I'd see my family or a neighbor. Or worse, that Jenna would see me there with Claire. I breathed in relief that Jenna wasn't there. Really, I knew Jenna probably wouldn't even notice. I was just a regular in her coffee shop and she was a carefree young woman. But, just maybe, she'd care a little. I realized I cared more about Jenna seeing us than a neighbor, friend, or even my wife herself. Still, it's best no one is there. Less to explain, despite the situation being entirely mundane. Just two coworkers, grabbing a cup of coffee and a quick bite to discuss the day. But it wasn't that, was it? There were no projects we were here to discuss. Was it just that for her? Why had she asked me here? I shouldn't be here. That thought's been running through my head all night, but I still can't seem to get up and leave. Claire sits across from me in this little cafe, the one I go to every morning that was so familiar. But with her, it felt new. Claire sat quietly, her chin resting on her hand, looking at me with that quiet kind of curiosity that makes me feel seen. We had rode here separately and I was able to leave at any time, but, despite my head telling me to get up and go home to my family, my body had me cemented in place. I shouldn't be here, but I wanted to be here. You've been distracted lately, she says, her voice soft but direct. What's going on, James? I stare down at my coffee, my fingers tracing the rim of the cup. The steam rises between us, but it doesn't blur the way she's looking at me, concerned, interested. Emma used to look at me like that, a long time ago. It's my marriage, I finally admit, the words heavy as they leave my mouth. Emma and I, we're not in a good place. Claire straightens a little, her brows knitting together in genuine concern. I'm sorry to hear that. Have you tried talking to her about it? I huff a laugh, bitter and sharp. Talking? I've tried, but it's like we're speaking two different languages. She's so busy with the kids, her job, the PTA, everything else, and I'm just there. Invisible. I pause, swallowing hard. I don't even know if she sees me anymore. Claire reaches across the table, her hand brushing mine. It's a small gesture, but it's electric. I feel my heart skip a beat. Her touch is warm, light, and for a moment, it feels like the only anchor I have in the middle of this storm. That sounds really hard, James, she says, her voice low and steady. You deserve to feel seen. Her words hit me in a way I didn't expect. My chest tightens, and I can feel the heat rising in my face. She's not a bad person, I say quickly, as if I'm defending Emma against some unseen accusation. She's an amazing mom. She's doing her best. But somewhere along the way, we lost us. I don't even know how to find it again, or if I even want to. Claire nods slowly, her fingers still lightly touching mine. She doesn't pull back, and I don't either. It's not wrong to want to feel connected, James, she says softly. Everyone needs that. The words hang in the air between us. Her eyes stay on mine, and for a moment, I feel like she's looking right through all my walls. I'm not sure if it's comforting or terrifying. It's like... I trail off, shaking my head. Never mind. I shouldn't be dumping all of this on you. She tilts her head slightly, her hand retreating but leaving its warmth behind. Don't do that. I'm here, okay? You don't have to keep it all bottled up. If you need someone to talk to, I'm here. Her voice is so sincere, so open, that I feel the weight in my chest lighten just a little. I nod, my throat tight. Thanks, Claire. I mean it. You mean something to me, James. Claire said, taking a sip from her coffee. Like as a friend? A coworker? I asked sure. She responded quietly. She smiles, soft and understanding, and for the first time in weeks, I don't feel so alone. But as I drive home later that night, her words replaying in my head, the guilt starts to creep in. I knew what she meant. She didn't mean as a coworker. It's that spark. She felt it too. What am I doing? Am I confiding in her because I need someone to talk to? Or is it because I want something more? I glance at my phone on the passenger seat, the screen still blank. Emma hasn't texted to check if I'm on my way home. She probably hasn't even noticed how late it is. I shouldn't be thinking about Claire like this. I shouldn't be thinking about how she listens, how she looks at me, how she makes me feel like me, but I am. And I don't know how to stop. For now, I'm sitting in my car, staring at the house where my wife and kids are waiting for me. I haven't made any decisions yet. I'm too paralyzed by guilt, fear, and shame to move in any direction. But the more I think about it, the more I realize something has to change, whether it's me, my marriage, or the life I've built around these unspoken longings. I don't know if I have the courage to stay or the audacity to leave. All I know is something has to change, because if it doesn't, I'm afraid I'll lose myself entirely. For now, I'll keep sitting in my car, staring at the steering wheel, wondering what kind of man I'll choose to be.